Our story begins in the future of 2099. We're introduced to our narrator, Galacta, the daughter of Galactus. The cosmic entity discusses her estranged relationship with her father, essentially telling us that due to his misdeeds, she wants nothing to do with him. Galacta then begins to tell us about the time stream entanglement, an occurrence which has created new worlds and has thrown together various heroes and villains from across the multiverse. This time rift has caused huge problems, and here in Tokyo 2099, the web of life and destiny has been damaged, leaving Master Weaver and his apprentice, Spider-Zero, fighting over how to fix it.
Master Weaver, we must plug the web of life and destiny into cyberspace. Disagree? You'll just have to try and stop me. I know this is the fastest way to repair the time stream,
Spider-Zero exclaims.
The fastest and most dangerous, Spider-Zero. We must wait until we have enough chronovium. That will strengthen the web and allow it to repair itself.
Galactica seems disgruntled at the events happening before her, specifically the arguments taking place. So she then takes a detour, introducing us to the two teams that we'll be following through this first story. Spider-Zero's team is led by Penny Parker, and their goal is to plug the Web of Destiny into cyberspace. Master Weaver's team, however, led by Spider-Man, is desperate to stop them. Galactica then takes her temporary exit, watching from the sidelines just like us, as the comic then shifts straight into action. Come on, Venom! Infinite timelines and none of them you use dental floss?
Spider-Man, we have not missed your jokes.
Wait, has your universe's Spider-Man moved on from comedy to more dramatic roles? Because my agent has been bugging me to...
Our Spider-Man is dead. Do you want to see how we killed him?
As Spider-Man and Venom battle one another, we're shown the various other heroes and villains that are proving to be at odds with one another. Thor versus Wolverine, Namor taking on Captain America, Luna Snow and Bruce Banner also join in on the action, while Iron Fist fights Doctor Strange, and Jeff tries to attack Penny, who seems to find his attempts quite adorable. During the confrontation between Spider-Man and Venom, the symbiotic duo refer to Peter as Parker, which immediately sparks some intrigue in Penny. She pauses mid-battle to ask Spider-Man a question, which is whether or not he has a daughter in his timeline named Penny. Spider-Man, confused by this, says no, which then leads to Penny explaining that this version of Venom is lost in the time stream, with no memory of his previous life, so he was totally lying about the whole killing Spider-Man thing. Peter responds to this by saying that's comforting, but also, aren't they supposed to be fighting? Which immediately causes the two to launch back into action. Peter tells Penny that she's on the wrong side of this fight, but before we can continue the action, we're interrupted by Galacta. You see, Penny is now under the impression that Spider-Man is an alternate version of her father, with it seeming like she's going to be quite emotional when she finds out that she's wrong. After this, we see our first team up in action. Cap's shield flies towards Thor, who proceeds to zap it towards Wolverine, creating a true voltaic union, which is quite funny because the team-up's no longer in the game. But this combination of abilities makes Penny and Venom wonder if they can do the same, leading to a symbiote surge, another team-up that's no longer in the game. This surge definitely gives Penny's team the upper hand. She knocks away Cap, Thor and Jeff, while also launching a mine towards Spider-Man and Luna Snow. Iron Fist tries to approach, but is taken down himself. And the mine that was launched towards the others causes a nearby building to explode, trapping Master Weaver's team under some rubble. This causes Penny to feel a little bit guilty and suggests that the team should help them out of the mess they've made. But Bruce suggests that the best way to help them is by fixing the timeline. So Penny's team make their getaway while they can, and just as the issue is about to end, Spider-Man's hand reaches out of the rubble. Issue 2 opens up with Captain America checking if the team is okay, and we see 5 of their 6 members. Thor, Iron Fist, Luna, Jeff, and of course Captain America, but Spider-Man is still trapped under the rubble. I've got to try, no matter how impossible it seems, and lifting is the only way, the only way. Spider-Man's struggle is interrupted by the God of Thunder, who lifts the wreckage from above him and then picks him out from underneath. The team then begins to plan their next move, as Iron Fist asks Jeff if he can track the enemy team. The baby land shark seems pretty confident in undertaking this objective, and immediately gets started in following them. While this is going on, Luna Snow recognizes a certain melody that she can hear, which, as it turns out, is coming from Penny, who is singing one of her favourite Luna Snow songs. This causes a bit of infighting within her team, as both Doctor Strange and Venom suggest that maybe she should be a bit quieter. And while this arguing is going on, the arrival of Spider-Man's team and Luna Snow has made Banner pretty damn angry, and we all know what that leads to. Another brawl takes place, with both of Spidey's strategists trying to take down the Jolly Green Giant. Luna mistakes Hulk for Amadeus Cho, and Spidey corrects her, stating that that's the wrong Hulk. The Raging Beast seems pretty displeased that he's being sprayed with water by Jeff, and smacks the land shark away, causing quite a bit of anger in both Captain America and Thor. During the battle, Penny tells Strange that they need to escape. This is probably due to the fact that their team is made up of 2 duelists and 4 vanguards, which doesn't seem like a very optimal composition. That being said, one of their 2 duelists is missing as Namor pursues Jeff. But as the 5 members of their team is about to jump through Doctor Strange's portal, Spider-Man quickly webs onto the back of Strange's cape, following them through but leaving his own team behind. Namor follows Jeff into an old arcade. The Landshark is seen beating up a defunct arcade machine, as Namor comments on how magnificent he believes the creature is. Jeff turns to Namor in confusion. Namor continues to monologue about how amazing he believes Jeff is, commenting that he believes he is a predator who was forced to live alongside prey, a creature of both land and sea, who was misunderstood by all and accepted truly by none. He talks about how he believes Jeff is one of a kind, and at first it seems like Jeff doesn't really care, sticking out his tongue at Namor, before letting out a vicious smile. The third issue opens up with another monologue from Galacta, who catches us up on the events so far, before we jump straight back into the action and watch as Spider-Man takes on the 5 remaining members of Penny's team. And at first, it seems like he's really holding his own. Wolverine is attached onto his back, but he's able to use his wits, blinding Hulk and leading him to giving Logan a nasty uppercut. Can we pretend I did that on purpose?
Sure, you've got about half a second to savor the moment before we swallow you whole.
Suddenly, Venom is blasted out of the way, but not by one of Spidey's own teammates. Instead, it was by Penny, who mentions that Peter dying isn't part of her plan. But that doesn't stop her from knocking him into a nearby building, as she commands her team to stay outside, because she plans to deal with Spider-Man all on her own. This is where Penny takes her opportunity to find out whether or not Peter is an alternate version of her father. Penny explains how everything that happened went exactly as she planned. She specifically sang that Luna Snow song earlier on to alert the team to their position, and to also make sure that they were okay. She also made sure that Strange portaled them out of there, because she knew Spider-Man would be able to follow them through. Spidey comments on how she must be some kind of tactical genius, before she adds that she did learn from the best, before both characters yell names at the same time. Spider-Man, of course, yells Spider-Man, with Penny shouting Aunt May. They spend a moment reminiscing about origins, before Penny tries to convince Peter that he's fighting for the wrong side. She says that she's devoted her entire life to protecting the web of life and destiny, and all of the realities that it connects to, and she says that Peter is just a guy who's here for a while. To which Spidey quickly responds by saying, "Then why does my opinion mean so much to you?" Penny goes silent before letting out a sigh, and mentions that they should start fighting again, otherwise Master Weaver and Spider-Zero are definitely going to notice. Penny then says, "See you on the other side, Richard Parker," and before Spidey has chance to respond, she punches him through another wall. Thor shows up to aid his teammate once more, as Spidey comments that he needs a little more time, as there's something he needs to tell Penny, after they knock the rest of her team into another timeline. Thor mentions that he's confident he would be able to best Hulk in battle, but fighting Hulk, Wolverine, Venom, Doctor Strange, and Penny as well. He mentions that his confidence is legendary, but... And just before he can finish his thought, we're interrupted by Galacta. She says that Thor's right, it's not a fair fight, so let's replace him with someone stronger. But who is this stronger individual, you ask? Well, it's none other than the nut-eating, butt-kicking Squirrel Girl, who throws a barrage of acorns just as the issue ends.
The Chronovium. The element we need to repair the time web. It's not gathering fast enough, Spider-Zero.
The fourth issue opens up with Master Weaver and Spider Zero once again arguing their opposing solutions to fixing the web. Spider Zero argues that they won't need Chronovium once her team plugs the web of life into cyberspace, to which Master Weaver tells her that she's always so short-sighted, and that regardless they're going to need Chronovium to maintain their rule. But that Chronovium is nowhere to be found, and he believes that something terrible is going on, with the implication being that Namor is involved somehow. We then cut over to Iron Fist, who's been trying to find his shark companion, but is hit by a speeding trident. He recognises instantly that this is Namor's doing, and he mentions that he has no quarrel with him. He's simply looking for Jeff. But as he's explaining himself, Namor interrupts him, saying that he does have a quarrel with him. In fact, he has a quarrel with anyone who may stand in his way. But as Namor is going on his evil rant, Iron Fist punches him in the face. Namor, shocked by this, screams, "You dare?" as Jeff suddenly then knocks Namor to the ground. It seems like Jeff has no interest in betraying his team like the last issue implied, until we see that Namor actually planned for this. He tells Jeff very good and to lead his team to the place that they discussed, and he will meet him there, as Iron Fist and Jeff go to regroup with the rest of their allies. The team is of course happy to be reunited, with Luna commenting that they were extremely worried. Cap comments that he wasn't worried at all as he knew Jeff could take care of himself, before Galacta quickly intrudes. She mentions that she loves a happy reunion and hopes that Spider-Man finds his way back to the team too, alongside their new teammate Squirrel Girl. She then says we should probably check in on the wall crawler, before we cut to a very angry Hulk and Spider-Man just underneath him. They have a quick back and forth as Spider-Man comments on Hulk saying Hulk smash quite a lot. Hulk responds to this by saying that Spider-Man says thwip a lot too. It seems like Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl overall are struggling to fend off against the enemy team, before they then use another team up that's no longer in the game. It seems like this has temporarily given them the upper hand however, as the Incredible Hulk is now completely encased in webbing. They realise that this ability has given them quite the advantage, so they use it on everyone, webbing up the entirety of the enemy team. Spidey mentions that he was going to talk to Penny about something, however that can wait, and the two proceed to head off. Galacta intrudes once more, commenting on how adorable Jeff is, and that the Landshark has led the rest of his team to the Stark Fujikawa building, where Penny planned to plug in the web. Spidey's team are now fully reunited, and they're ready to make their final stand where they will hopefully save the timeline. The next issue opens up with Luna Snow covering the tower in ice. Squirrel Girl comments on how she believes this defense is absolutely impenetrable, with Cap saying that every barrier is penetrable in some way. Spider-Man jokes saying not this one and that he'd stake his entire reputation on it. His reputation as a jokester, that is, not as a superhero or scientist. Penny's team then arrives as she asks if he's sure about that, to which Doctor Strange then says it's time for them to find out. He unleashes a maelstrom of madness, boosted by a Hulk Gamma Charge. This scatters Spider-Man's team, doing immense damage, with the only member left to defend the tower being Jeff. The Shark holds them off for a second before Luna is able to get back on her feet, as we see one more team-up move that's no longer available. Thanks to the team-up, the two strategists are able to once again fend off Hulk and Doctor Strange, at least for now, as they put up another icy barrier. Luna then turns to heal Squirrel Girl alongside Iron Fist. Hey, could we get some of that chi healing too? Some soothing magic would really hit the spot right about. Ah, Jeff, why do you attack and heal in the exact same way? Over on the other side of this icy wall, Penny's team are planning their next move. Penny states that they need to get up there while the team's still injured, before Venom comments that they could injure Spider-Man again if needed. Penny suggests that she's got a better idea, as she turns to Hulk and asks if he's ever heard of a fastball special. Hulk smirks before then picking up Venom, to which the symbiotic duo is very unhappy about. Hulk calls them a puny symbiote before throwing Venom away, as Wolverine climbs on board and says let's try it this way instead. Hulk launches Wolverine, who then ends up flying through the entire building rather than getting on top of it. And while this initiates another brawl between the heroes and villains, Namor regroups with Jeff, who starts to explain his diabolical plan. He mentions that without the Web of Life, this dimension will be cut off from all others, ruled by whomever possesses the most Chronovium, and that will be him, as he's gathered it all and stored it within his trident. He climbs atop of the building alongside Jeff while no one's paying attention, and plans to destroy the Web of Life and Destiny once and for all, with his final words of the issue being that the world will be ours, and all the sardines of the world will be Jeff's. Our final issue begins with Penny scaling the tower. She reaches the top only to find out that Jeff has beat her to it. She questions how this is possible and asks the shark if Hulk used the fastball special in order to propel him up there. She asks if Jeff is okay, if he's hurt, before telling herself to focus and that she needs to plug the web of life into cyberspace and save reality. She emphasizes that no one can stop her and that she's the only one who can. Spider-Man appears just in time to stop her. She asks how he was able to get up there, to which he responds by saying, "I'm Spider-Man, and this building is covered in spiderweb. I'll let you put the rest together." Spider-Man then turns his attention to Jeff and yells at him to destroy the device, as he is the only one who can. But yet again we face another interruption, this time from Namor. Namor arms his trident ready to attack, but just then Jeff pounces towards him. Namor, disgusted by his action, asks what kind of betrayal this is. Penny then thanks him and says she can still save the timeline. Spider-Man, objecting to this, says that she could destroy the timeline, and even worse, she could get hurt. Penny apologizes. She says that she's sorry to disappoint. She says that though Peter is an alternate version of her father, she still cares about what he thinks. Peter struggles with himself, and as he does so, Galacta narrates. She says that Peter shouldn't use her confusion as leverage, just to save the time stream. But actually, when you put it like that, maybe he should lie to her. Peter, almost as if he's responding to Galacta, says no, I can't do that. At this point, Penny has jumped out of her mech. She was unable to continue moving forward as Spider-Man was holding her in place with webbing. But as Spidey argues with himself, she turns around, asking what it is he can't do. Spider-Man explains himself, saying that he's not Penny's father, and that Richard was his dad too, meaning that he is an alternate version of Penny. He says he hopes that she still cares enough about his opinion to maybe step away from the device and talk it out before it's too late. As Penny stands next to the machine, staring at it, "Talk it out," she says, before yelling no and punching the device, only to realise that it's too late. The device isn't working, and the timeline is already too weak. But just then, Jeff steals Namor's trident, the item loaded with chronovium. He launches himself towards the web as it erupts into a bright light.
The web of life in Destiny is repairing itself through cyberspace strengthened by chronovium? Both approaches working together? I didn't know we could do that. Did you know we could do that?
Of course I did. I know all.
We then cut to Penny sat alongside Peter. She states that she thought she'd made some kind of multiversal connection to her father. Peter reconciles, saying that he didn't really know his parents either, and although she didn't find a father and he didn't find a daughter, they both in some way found family. We then see Jeff as he sadly purrs against Namor. Namor turns to him, patting him on the head. He states that though he's disappointed to start his campaign of conquest all over again, Jeff did what he thought was right, even if it meant standing up to his monarch. He exclaims that they have no quarrel and that Jeff has earned his respect. We then get more narration from Galacta, who tells us that the story is over, before letting out a laugh and telling us that it's totally not, but Tokyo 2099 is safe, though chaos still reigns in this fractured timeline. We then catch glimpses of the different realms and realities present in Marvel Rivals. We see Thor, who's been transported back to Asgard. We catch a glimpse of Wakanda and the Hydra base that Black Widow is infiltrating, and even the Guardians of the Galaxy alongside the Punisher battling symbiotes on the surface of Clintar. Before we cut to the interior of a large gothic structure, we see the two versions of Doom, and a character talking to them off screen. "Dr. Doom? Dr. Doom? 10 minutes ago I was reading The Voyage of Beagle to my children while they drifted off to sleep. Now, I'm here. One of you is going to explain to me why. If you don't, I'm going to get angry. And to quote a respected colleague of mine, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry." And so this concludes the first saga of the Marvel Rivals comic series, which since then has gone on to garner 23 issues. The first 6 comics of course released during Season 0, hence the Fantastic Four tease during its ending. And I do appreciate how the comic gave us some context behind some of the events transpiring in Marvel Rivals. It helps to flesh out some of the multiplayer maps and their narratives in a really fun way. Though I do have my gripes with some of the storytelling and character choices, I still appreciate that this is a comic we have. If you do wish to read it yourself, and of course if you're a fan of Marvel Rivals, I do recommend doing so, all of the issues are available digitally on Marvel Unlimited. Otherwise, this saga, alongside the next one we'll be covering, which is the Marvel Rivals Krakoa saga, have both received physical comics, with their King in Black saga also receiving a physical comic very soon. Due to its popularity, it's now gone on to get a new comic every week, though I'm not entirely sure how this is actually going to affect the narrative of the Rivals comics. As of right now, every 6 issues is broken up into its own saga. This one is of course centric on Tokyo 2099, the second one was Krakoa, and the third took us to Clintar. The current issues are releasing weekly and take place around the events of the current Rivals season. Of course, their place in Rivals canon is interesting to say the least. To my understanding, they are in fact canon, but also kind of not, which mostly stems from the fact that you basically have 2 groups of writers that are writing the same story. But on that note, I'm going to wrap this one up. Let me know if you enjoyed the video and if you'd like to see more videos like this. Not just for Rivals, but maybe for some other stuff too. I had a lot of fun making it, and I'll start working on my follow-up as soon as possible. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to Digion who voiced Master Weaver. Anyways, on that note, I'll catch you all in the next one.